hashtag, and the Wi-Fi is the new school net with IoT workshop internet, in case you haven't seen that. Great. So, I don't know how many of you recognize this. I'm just curious how many people in the audience went to ITP? Yay! I went to ITP, and a lot of other people in this industry went to ITP, and as many people know, the founder of ITP, Red Burns, actually died recently. So I wanted to quickly recognize her for her contributions to this industry, because without her and the ITP program, certainly IoT and especially New York Tech wouldn't be where it is today, and we owe a lot to her as the quote mother of Silicon Alley. Not in the least because people like myself were entered into the program because she had a 50% female parity admission policy, which is unusual for a tech program. So kudos to Red Burns for all that she did for this movement. So I just thought I'd start tonight with a really quick overview of IoT, especially for those who may not be as familiar. So I'm kind of curious, how many people in the audience consider themselves to be like fairly proficient in this area, like they're makers, they're doing physical computing, this is their world? Show of hands. Okay, great. So about like a third. And how many people are here and they really don't know much about IT, and this is going to be like, you know, a brave new world where they're trying to get the basics? Anybody willing to admit that? Okay, a few people, that's good. Okay, so we got a spectrum, so just bear with me. This is a very short summary just to get everybody on the same page. But basically, the Internet of Things combined with, quote, natural user interfaces, which are NUI, lots of acronyms, are changing the way that we live and interact, and no longer is this our way we do digital computing. Let's see if that comes back. Instead, really the world around us is becoming our computer, and even TechCrunch said 2013 is the year IoT goes from obscurity to ubiquity. So, you know, TechCrunch says it, obviously, this is the year. And I predict that holiday 2013, the must-have gift is going to be your smartwatch. So we've seen all these things with the RGA combining with Techstars to do the new accelerator, Google Glass as a platform. We've got huge multi-million-dollar raises on Kickstarter. And all this has happened in the last year. It's very quick. So that begs the question, what is IoT? And really the core of it is this combination of physical and digital products, combined with connectivity, typically wireless. Sometimes there's other components to it, the NUI bit of interacting with digital devices through voice or motion or other means, or some way of augmented reality. Often there's tracking and monitoring involved. But basically it's about this holistic product and environmental experience design where UX designers are really at the core of this really exciting new place to help make these things happen. And there's so many subgenres and related categories, and tonight we're really only focusing on installations and environmental spaces, but hopefully in future events we will cover a few other components of IoT, of which there's so many, including games and robots and surveillance and medical monitoring and wearables. By the way, we're going to put this presentation on SlideShare next week. So if you want more information and this is interesting to you, actually there's been tons written this year. Wired had a really good article in the September 2013 Wired that you can check out, as well as ReadWrite and others. And I also just wanted to insert in this because I think most of us are techno-evangelists and we always assume that technology is a force for good. And we want to believe that, but of course technology can also be a force for both good and evil, and a lot of this technology that we are now using in a consumer space was actually funded and is used actively by the US and other military operations. Up here on the stage here, you'll see this is a drone that is actually designed to look like a mosquito, and it is in active use, and they can be swarmed. They can go where humans or even regular drones can't, and they're used for surveillance, they're used for monitoring, they're used for warfare. So it's just something to consider. It's not always, march towards good here. There's two sides to this coin with this new world that we're entering. But tonight we're going to be on the positive side, and we're just going to look at amazing new spaces. This is a picture from the San Francisco Exploratorium, which has done some really interesting stuff there. And so as part of our trying to put this event together, we actually started to do research on what was out there, and basically we can't keep up. Every single day there's a new article or there's a new thing on Kickstarter, and so we started to put together this presentation, and we know, not this one, but a different one, and we know that already it's basically outdated. So as follow-up, we're going to put our survey presentation up on SlideShare next week, and we really would love it if other people could help contribute and say, oh, you're missing this platform, this product, this service, etc., because we'd like to have it be a little bit of a snapshot survey of where we are in the industry right now. Just wanted to take a few minutes, and then of course the presenter is going to talk about why IoT is happening right now, like why August 2013 is the moment. And I think that there's a number of interesting things that have happened historically with the confluence of technology and where we are right now on the web that have all come together. First off, we all have IoT devices in our pockets, which are these phones. And of course, the first iPhone didn't come out until 2007, which is only 6 years ago. And with that rapid adoption also came consumer familiarity. And of course, then there's crowdfunding. Kickstarter has really changed the whole model of how these products get marketed and funded. And there's just much lower barriers to entry across the board. There's platform standardization, both on APIs and languages and technologies and networks. And just everything makes it a lot easier than it was just a few years ago to really cross these barriers. Plus you got the whole big data analytics component also coming into play. So it's a pretty exciting time. And I thought that it would be kind of funny, hopefully you'll think it's funny, I think it's funny, to do a little like time warp, like before and after of where we were about 10 years ago and where we are now, based on my own personal projects from ITP, physical computing. And you can see like what we did then and where the industry is now in comparison in the same context. So this is me 10 years ago, and this was a wearable that I developed for testing your posture, and I'm sure you're going to rush out and buy this for the holidays because it looks so awesome. It did work, and this was the microprocessor behind it. At the time we didn't use Arduino, we used BX24s. And this is the schematic that we had, and basically when you moved and you slouched, then it would buzz and tell you. And of course now, as of last year, somebody did have this great idea, and they got it funded on Kickstarter, and they launched it. You can buy it. It's called Blumo, and they've got an iPhone app, and it's awesome. We also did this thing. We did this mobile mapping and discovery app. This was before local social networks, because it was before you had mobile phones that could triangulate your location. And as most of us know, geo-mapping and geo-targeting works through triangulation, which means you have three cell phone towers in the sky that they're pinging you, and they can tell based on your distance to the three of them where you are in space. And before we had a mobile phone that would tell us this information, we had to build our own. So for this, we actually had people wear remote controls, like your TV remote control around your neck. This is, of course, the ITP show. So you wore this remote control around your neck, and we did a custom receivers in Java that would basically take that in and map you on the ITP floor And you could do social networking at the stations where you could say like, hello, blah, blah, to the people because they would have their little bios as they were going around the floor. And this is the actual map that we did and the schematic and the diagram of our board. And of course now, like this is just, we get this out of the box. We don't even have an app for this because it's a built-in app of iOS and Android that you just assume you're going to be able to have local social mapping and social discovery. This is another one that's related to this event. This was called RGB. It was a multi-device environmental installation, and it had colors, heat, and patterns that triggered based on proximity. It doesn't look that awesome here. And this was the schematic, and you can see here there's a heat lamp that basically triggered, and it used light colored ink that changed with heat. Of course now, you can go by Nest and change your humidity and temperature and everything in your home anytime you want on your phone. 2 more projects. We had an early responsive video project, so it took in video. Most people who went ITP know about pixel by pixel, and this is a big part of ITP, what it did. And basically it took in video, and you could use that as data input and manipulate it. And so we had an art installation that took in video, and then there were various effects. Again, we did it in Java. These are some of the outcomes and some of the impacts, and the colors and the effects would change based on what you did and how close, where you were in the viewable area. And it was basically like core technology is not so different from Kinect and other devices, though obviously this is way more awesome and sophisticated than what we did. But you can see how fast things have moved. Finally, we did a very classic ITP project, gesture-based installation. You move your hands, things change, beautiful visual effects. Here it was at the show. And now you've got all kinds of amazing responsive installations like we're going to see tonight. So that's the end of my 3-minute history lesson. And now we're about to enter this 4.0 point of beyond the screen and keyboard. And with tonight's talks, just wanted to mention who we are. This group is NYC-CHI. We are the largest and oldest US group in the city. We have an active Yahoo Emu group, which is very sort of old school because it was set up when, when the group was started. But if you are not on the list, we do have job announcements and other event announcements all the time. Anyone can post an event or job, so it's a good place to hear about UX related stuff, as well as a new meetup group that we've just started. And we do want to put on more events here, especially we have some in the plans for IoT. We are seeking volunteers and helpers, so anyone who's interested in helping out, please come talk to me. And I just wanted to also highlight some of the other groups who have helped promote this event. Peter, who's here from IXDA New York, helped put this on the IXDA event list, and so did Linda from the IoT New York meetup. So, and Mark posted this on UX and Acrobatics, so kudos to them. Thank you. And most importantly, thanks to our sponsor, MFADT program at Parsons. This is like really a perfect time to be in a program like Parsons or ITP, because as we just saw, this is the moment where all these confluence of things are finally coming together. With people like me, I graduated in 2003 and I did all those crazy physical computing projects, and then I went out into the real world and I had to do static websites for banks and you know, banners at digital agencies. You know, I mean, it was just like falling off a cliff. And now you don't have to do that. You can be like these guys and do cool stuff and get paid for it. So it's a good time to be studying this stuff. So the Dean, Catherine Marwaki, new Dean, is here, and she's going to talk to you for a second.